How's it going, everyone? David from dodmedia. I just got my 10,000th YouTube subscriber. Thank you very much, whoever you are. It means absolutely loads to me that so many people have subscribed, so many people want to watch my tutorials and my reviews and just listen to me ramble on about crap. I've been doing this for a few years now, but really it's since I got back from my honeymoon last year. September 2017 is when I decided to really step up my game and make this a more regular thing. And I started putting out videos 2-3 times a week consistently, and I saw the amount of subscribers that I'd accumulated in like 5 years double itself in the space of like 2 months. It was absolutely insane, and because of that consistency in posting, I think that really helped it. And it made me think a little bit about what it was that had helped me get to 10,000 subscribers, what it was that had helped me start a company to offer filmmaking and photography for clients. And the one thing that kept coming back to my mind was when I first invested in a specific lens. This lens, the Sigma 35mm f1.4 ART or Art Series lens. I got this lens when it first came out about 5 years ago, and I had used primes before. I had shot with the Nifty 50, I'd shot with some cheaper primes, but I'd never invested any decent money, a relatively large amount of money then, still a relatively large amount of money now. And I was a little bit afraid because that felt like the first foot going in, testing those waters. Now, when I first bought this lens, I was shooting on a Canon 7D. I in fact have it behind this backdrop, which was my very first DSLR. And I spent hours and hours and hours on the internet looking for every scrap of detail, of information, pictures, examples of this lens that I could find before making that decision to finally go for it. But somehow I knew that it was gonna happen. And you know, I was comparing it to its competition, the Canon 35mm f1.4L lens. I was comparing it to other lenses. And when I heard that my local camera store had it in stock, I took my Canon 7D down to the shop, put it on there, and I left with the lens that same day. I was just so blown away by how it felt. It wasn't about the picture that I got at first, it was that feeling. And then when I got home, I started shooting absolutely everything I could find. And there I saw the image quality and that feeling. And while I know that they say, they say that gear shouldn't matter, I agree to an extent. This lens gave me a boost in confidence. It gave me this kind of, I don't want to say inspiration, but it really made me feel like I started to look at things slightly differently, like I wanted to start photographing things slightly differently. I wanted to try different things with my camera. I wanted to try different things with setups. And I started to think a little bit more artistically, and I started to be a little bit more bold with what I photographed and what I filmed. From the moment that I took it home with me, it felt like something had started, like a chain reaction, like a snowball effect. And I knew that the next step, the next logical step to getting the most out of this lens was to put it on a full frame body. Now, this was also about the time that my wife and I started shooting weddings together. She was with Nikon, I was with Canon, and we both said, right, if one of us is gonna go full frame, we both go full frame together. And that really just, that helped convince me that step to take to buy a full frame body, it just made sense at that point. It was for me, but it was also a business investment, and it was something, it was the next logical step. And so again, I went down to my camera store, but with the lens this time, not with the 7D, and I put this lens on one of the Canon 6D bodies that they had in the shop. The Canon 6D had been recently released. It wasn't out for all that long, a few months maybe, and it was my first time picking up a full frame camera. And that moment when the lens went on the camera, I powered it up with one of my own batteries because the shop were stingy and they didn't want to give me a battery. And I looked through the viewfinder and I snapped off the first shot. I'll never forget that feeling. It still, I mean, it gives me goosebumps now. It was literally like you were holding a breath for so long and then it just clicked. It just felt right. Everything about the two just fit so perfectly together. I'd never felt like a lens and a camera had been purposefully designed for one another until I held these together. And so I took the new combo home and I shot some portraits, and I literally had a smile plastered on my face the entire time. It just felt so good to use this. It felt so right. And since then, I can easily say this has been my workhorse lens. And for photography, it still is today. I've used it for weddings, I've used it for corporate shoots, I've used it for events, I've used it to shoot promo videos. I've shot headshots with this, I've done portraiture with this, I've done interviews with this. Pretty much every job that required a camera for the last 5 years has seen this combo in action. And I can say with confidence that if I broke or lost this lens, I would weep to start with. But once I got over that, I would replace this in a heartbeat with the same model. No hesitation. Thank you for watching. If you've been thinking about getting yourself this lens, I can 100% recommend it. But as I did, the best thing that you can do is to actually go down and try it out yourself in a camera store. Find your local camera store, call them up, ask them if they have it. If they don't have it, ask them if they'd be willing to order it in for you to try it out. They'll sell it anyway. It's a big seller. But I guarantee you will just absolutely love shooting with this thing. Alright, give this a thumbs up if you liked what you saw. Hit that subscribe button to get more videos from me at dodmedia. Thank you so much for helping me get to 10,000 subscribers. Leave a comment in the comments section if you have anything that you'd like to ask me. It's been a fun journey so far as a photographer and a filmmaker. Past 5 years with this guy. Let's see what the next 5 bring.